The stars had always called to humanity, a siren song of endless possibility. For centuries, humans gazed at the night sky, dreaming of the day they would reach out and touch those distant points of light. That day finally arrived in the late 21st century when a team of brilliant scientists cracked the code of faster-than-light travel. The Alcubierre drive, named after the theoretical physicist who first proposed it, allowed humanity to fold space-time around their ships, crossing vast interstellar distances in the blink of an eye. With this revolutionary technology, the solar system quickly became humanity's backyard, and the call of the unknown grew stronger than ever. As Earth united under the banner of progress and exploration, colony ships set out for nearby star systems. Alpha Centauri, Tau Ceti, and Epsilon Eridani became the first homes of humanity beyond the cradle of Earth. These initial colonies were challenging endeavors, full of hardship and sacrifice, but the human spirit of perseverance prevailed. Admiral Elena Chen, one of the architects of humanity's expansion into the stars, stood on the observation deck of the UES Horizon, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel. Her weathered face, etched with lines of experience and determination, reflected in the transparent aluminum viewport as she gazed out at the swirling blue-green world below. "Magnificent, isn't it?" a voice said from behind her. Elena turned to see Dr. Marcus Reeves, the ship's chief xenobiologist, joining her at the viewport. "It never gets old," Elena replied with a smile. "To think, just 50 years ago, we were still confined to our own solar system. Now look at us." The planet below was Nova Terra, humanity's first terraformed world. What was once a barren rock had been transformed into a lush, habitable planet through decades of hard work and ingenious engineering. It stood as a testament to human determination and innovation. As Elena and Marcus admired the view, a sudden alert blared through the ship's communications system. "Admiral Chen to the bridge immediately," the voice of Captain Surin Nguyen echoed through the corridors. Elena's heart raced as she hurried to the bridge, Marcus close on her heels. As the doors slid open, she was met with a scene of controlled chaos. The bridge crew worked furiously at their stations, and at the center of it all stood Captain Nguyen, her face a mask of disbelief and excitement. "Report, Captain," Elena said, her voice cutting through the tension. Sarah turned to face her superior officer, her eyes wide. "Admiral, we've detected an artificial signal. It's not one of ours." The words hung in the air for a moment as their implications sank in. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now, it seemed, they had their answer. "Show me," Elena commanded, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a complex waveform that pulsed with an otherworldly rhythm. Dr. Reeves stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding his initial shock. "It's beautiful," he breathed. "The complexity, the patterns, this is undoubtedly the product of an advanced civilization." Elena nodded, her mind racing with the possibilities and potential dangers this discovery presented. "Can we locate the source?" Captain Nguyen nodded, tapping a few commands into her console. The view screen changed, showing a star map of the local cluster. A pulsing red dot appeared, several light years from their current position. "It's coming from the Zeta Reticuli system," Sarah explained. "The signal seems to be an invitation, or a challenge." Elena straightened her uniform, her decision already made. "Plot a course, Captain. It's time for humanity to introduce itself to the galaxy." The journey to Zeta Reticuli was tense with anticipation. As the UES Horizon dropped out of FTL on the outskirts of the system, the crew held their collective breath. Before them lay a sight that would forever change humanity's place in the universe. A vast space station hung in orbit around a gas giant, its sleek design unlike anything humanity had ever constructed. Around it, ships of various sizes and configurations moved in complex patterns, a cosmic dance of an advanced spacefaring civilization. "Open a channel," Elena commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Let's say hello." As humanity made its first contact with an alien civilization, little did they know that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but it was also home to ancient powers and long-standing conflicts. Humanity's arrival on the galactic stage would send ripples through the delicate balance of power, eventually leading to a confrontation that would test the limits of human ingenuity and determination. In the years that followed, Earth became a member of the Galactic Council, a coalition of spacefaring races that governed much of the known galaxy. Humanity's resourcefulness and adaptability quickly earned them both admiration and suspicion from the older races. They brought fresh perspectives to age-old problems and a drive for innovation that both impressed and unsettled their new galactic neighbors. One race, in particular, viewed humanity's rapid ascension with growing concern. The Vexari Empire, one of the oldest and most powerful civilizations in the galaxy, had long seen themselves as the rightful rulers of known space. Led by the cunning and ruthless Empress Zorak, the Vexari watched as humans expanded their sphere of influence, establishing colonies and forging alliances at an unprecedented rate. Empress Zorak, a towering figure with iridescent scales and piercing golden eyes, stood before the great council of Vexa, her voice resonating through the cavernous chamber. "These humans," she hissed, her forked tongue flicking in agitation, "they are a threat to the natural order. They spread like a virus, consuming resources and upsetting the balance we have maintained for millennia." The council members murmured in agreement, their own experiences with human diplomats and traders having left them unsettled. One elder, his scales dulled with age, spoke up. "What do you propose, Your Majesty? We cannot simply eradicate them. The other races of the Galactic Council would not stand for it." Zorak's eyes narrowed, a predatory smile playing across her reptilian features. "No, we cannot destroy them outright, but we can contain them, limit their expansion, and remind them of their place in the cosmic hierarchy." As the Vexari plotted, humanity continued to thrive, unaware of the storm brewing on the horizon. Admiral Chen, now a respected voice in the Galactic Council, worked tirelessly to secure humanity's place among the stars. But even as she negotiated treaties and trade agreements, a part of her remained vigilant, always prepared for the possibility that not every race in the galaxy welcomed humanity with open arms. In a secret facility deep beneath the surface of Mars, a project of unprecedented scale was underway. Hidden from the prying eyes of both terrestrial rivals and alien allies, humanity was preparing a surprise that would shake the foundations of galactic power. The future of humanity hung in the balance, poised between the promise of a bright, expansive future and the threat of becoming just another conquered race in the annals of galactic history. The stage was set for a conflict that would determine not just the fate of Earth, but the very nature of galactic civilization itself. As the UES Horizon made its way back to Earth, carrying news of first contact and the invitation to join the galactic community, Admiral Chen couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was standing on the precipice of something monumental. The stars had called, and humanity had answered. Now, they would have to prove they were worthy of the cosmic legacy they sought to claim. The Galactic Council chambers buzzed with activity as representatives from 100 different worlds gathered for an emergency session. At the center of the vast amphitheater, a holographic display showed a fleet of Vexari warships positioned at the edge of human-controlled space. The tension in the air was palpable as Admiral Elena Chen took her place at the podium, her face a mask of determination. "Esteemed members of the Council," Elena began, her voice carrying across the chamber, "the Vexari Empire has positioned a battle fleet on the borders of human space. They demand our immediate withdrawal from all colonies beyond our home system and the cessation of all technological development deemed threatening to galactic stability." A chorus of murmurs rippled through the assembled delegates. The Arcturian representative, a being of pure energy contained within a translucent sphere, pulsed with concern. "This is unprecedented. The Vexari have always been aggressive, but to threaten a council member so openly. Elena nodded grimly. We believe this is more than just saber-rattling. Our intelligence suggests that Empress Zorok sees humanity as a direct threat to Vexari dominance. As the council debated the implications of the Vexari ultimatum, light years away on the Vexari throne world of Sherex, Empress Zorok paced before her war council. Her scales shimmered with barely contained rage as she addressed her generals. These humans, Zorok hissed, her forked tongue flicking in agitation, they expand unchecked, polluting the galaxy with their chaotic ideas and unpredictable technologies. We must remind them of their place in the cosmic order. General Kraz, a battle-scarred veteran of 100 campaigns, stepped forward. Your Majesty, perhaps we underestimate them. Our reports indicate that their adaptability and ingenuity make them formidable opponents. Zorok's golden eyes narrowed dangerously. Are you suggesting we fear these upstart primates, General? Kraz bowed his head submissively. Never, Your Majesty. I merely counsel caution. The humans have surprised us before. The Empress turned to gaze out at the sprawling capital city below her palace. Caution is for the weak, General. We are Vexari. We have ruled this galaxy for millennia, and we will not be undermined by some primitive species barely out of its cradle. Back on Earth, in the fortified war room beneath the United Earth Government headquarters in Geneva, President Amelia Winters faced her own council of advisors. The holographic display showed the positions of known Vexari forces, a menacing red mass pressing against the borders of human space. What are our options? Winters asked, her voice tight with the weight of the decision before her. Defense Minister Yuki Tanaka stepped forward, her posture rigid. Madam President, our conventional forces are outnumbered and outgunned. The Vexari fleet possesses technology we can't hope to match in open combat. So we just roll over and give up everything we've worked for. General Marcus Santos interjected, his fist slamming on the table. We've faced impossible odds before. We didn't come this far to be bullied back to our home system. President Winters raised a hand, silencing the brewing argument. What about Project Olympus? She asked, her gaze falling on a figure standing quietly in the corner. Dr. Ilara Vance, head of Earth's most classified research division, stepped into the light. Her cybernetic eye whirred softly as she assessed the room. Project Olympus is ready, Madam President, but once we reveal it, there's no going back. The galaxy will never look at humanity the same way again. A heavy silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. Project Olympus, the fruit of decades of secret research and development, represented humanity's trump card, but using it would irreversibly alter the balance of power in the galaxy. President Winters closed her eyes, weighing the fate of humanity in her mind. When she opened them again, there was steel in her gaze. Prepare a response to the Vexari ultimatum. We will not bow to their demands. And Dr. Vance, initiate Project Olympus. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. As the orders went out, a flurry of activity erupted across human space. On distant colonies and hidden facilities, men and women who had trained for years in secret were called to action. In the depths of the Oort cloud, vast structures began to stir, awakening from their long slumber. Admiral Chen stood before the Galactic Council once more, her face set with grim determination. Honored representatives, she began, her voice steady and clear. Humanity rejects the Vexari Empire's ultimatum. We came to the stars in peace, seeking cooperation and mutual understanding. But if war is forced upon us, we will not shy away from it. The chamber erupted in chaos as the implications of humanity's defiance became clear. Some delegates cheered the show of courage, while others warned of the devastation that would follow. As Elena left the council chambers, she was met by Zorn, the Arcturian representative who had become one of humanity's strongest allies. His energy form pulsed with concern. Admiral, he said, his thoughts resonating directly in her mind, you realize what this means. The Vexari will not take this lightly. They will come for you with everything they have. Elena nodded, a small determined smile playing at the corners of her mouth. With counting on its own, the Vexari think they know what humanity is capable of. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Across human space, citizens watch their screens with a mixture of fear and determination as President Winters addressed the nation. Her words echoed across colonies and outposts, stirring the hearts of billions. "My fellow humans," she began, her voice firm and resolute, "for too long, we have hidden our true strength from the galaxy, content to play the role of the young, learning race. But now, faced with an ultimatum that would see us confined and constrained, we can hide no longer. The Vexari Empire, and indeed the entire galaxy, will soon learn that humanity is not to be trifled with. We come in peace, but we do not fear war. We seek friendship, but we will not submit to tyranny. Today, we show the stars what it truly means to be human." As her words faded, a ripple of activity spread across the solar system. In the asteroid belt, on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, and in the distant reaches of the Kuiper belt, massive hangar doors began to open, and from them emerged humanity's greatest secret and most powerful deterrent, a fleet of 200 supercarriers, each one a match for the mightiest Vexari dreadnought. Operation Olympus had begun. The galaxy was about to witness the full extent of human ingenuity and determination, and the Vexari Empire would soon learn the folly of underestimating humanity. The vast emptiness of space was suddenly alive with movement. From hidden bases scattered throughout the solar system, humanity's secret fleet emerged. 200 supercarriers, each one a masterpiece of human engineering and ingenuity, moved into formation with a precision that belied their massive size. Aboard the flagship, the UES Prometheus, Admiral Chen stood on the bridge, her heart swelling with pride as she watched the fleet assemble. These ships represented the pinnacle of human achievement, incorporating technology reverse-engineered from a dozen alien races and improved upon by the finest minds Earth had to offer. All ships reporting ready, Admiral, Captain Ravi Sharma announced, his voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. Elena nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Initiate jump sequence. Let's show the galaxy what humanity can do." Across the fleet, Alcubierre drives spun up, warping space-time around the massive ships. In a flash of blue light, the supercarrier fleet vanished from the solar system, leaving behind a stunned Sol Defense Force and an equally shocked Vexari observation post. Light years away, in the Zeta Reticuli system, site of humanity's first contact with alien life, a Vexari battle group was preparing to launch its first strike against human colonies. Aboard the Vexari flagship, General Kraz was reviewing the battle plans when alarms suddenly blared across the ship. "Report," Kraz barked, his scales bristling with tension. His second-in-command, Subcommander Vex, looked up from her console, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Sir, we're detecting multiple FTL signatures, hundreds of them. They're human ships, but like nothing we've ever seen before." Before Kraz could respond, space itself seemed to tear open as the human fleet materialized. The Vexari battle group, once an intimidating force, now looked like minnows before a pod of whales. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Open a channel to the Vexari flagship," she ordered. The main view screen flickered to life, showing the shocked face of General Kraz. Elena met his gaze steadily. "General, this is Admiral Elena Chen of the United Earth Fleet. I believe your Empress has some demands for us. We're here to discuss them, personally." Kraz's jaw worked soundlessly for a moment before he found his voice. This is impossible. You can't have built this fleet without us knowing." "And yet, here we are," Elena replied calmly. "Now you have a choice to make, General. You can either stand down and return to Vexari space with a message for your Empress, or you can test the capabilities of our new ships. The choice is yours." For a tense moment, it seemed as though Kraz might choose to fight. But as he looked at the sea of human warships surrounding his small fleet, reason prevailed. We will withdraw, Admiral. But know this, the Empress will not take this lightly." As the Vexori ships retreated, a cheer went up across the human fleet. It was a bloodless victory, but an important one. Humanity had shown that it was not to be trifled with. But Elena knew that this was only the beginning. "All ships, maintain battle readiness," she ordered. "This is far from over." Her words proved prophetic. As news of the human supercarrier fleet spread across the galaxy, reactions were mixed. Many races, long chafing under Vexori dominance, celebrated this check to the Empire's power. Others, however, viewed humanity's hidden build-up with suspicion and fear. In an emergency session of the Galactic Council, accusations flew. The Vexori ambassador, his scales flushed with rage, pointed a clawed finger at the human delegation. "They have been lying to us all along," he hissed. "Building weapons of war while pretending to be peaceful newcomers. They are a threat to galactic stability." Zorn, the Arcturian representative, pulsed with calming blue light. "The humans have not attacked anyone," he pointed out. "They revealed their fleet in response to Vexori aggression. Perhaps if the Empire had not been so quick to threaten a fellow council member, we would not be in this situation." The debate raged on, but it was clear that the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. Humanity was no longer seen as a young, naive race, but as a potential superpower with unknown capabilities. On Earth, President Winters addressed a nervous but proud populace. "Today, we have shown the galaxy that humanity will not be bullied or threatened," she declared. "Our fleet stands ready not to conquer, but to defend. We seek peace, but we will not shy away from protecting our people and our interests." As the human fleet took up defensive positions around key colonies, the Vexori Empire seethed with rage and humiliation. In her palace on Sherix, Empress Zorak paced furiously, her claws leaving gouges in the metallic floor. "How?" She snarled at her cowering advisors. "How did they build such a fleet without us knowing? Where did they get the resources, the technology?" Her chief intelligence officer, a cybernetically enhanced Vexari named Slith, stepped forward cautiously. "Your Majesty, we believe the humans have been quietly reverse engineering technology from multiple races. They've taken designs and concepts from across the galaxy and improved upon them in ways we hadn't thought possible." Zorak's eyes narrowed dangerously. "And you did not foresee this? You, whose job it is to know our enemies?" Slith bowed low, his cybernetic eye whirring nervously. "We underestimated them, Your Majesty. Their compartmentalized government structure, their ability to innovate, they are unlike any race we have encountered before." The Empress hissed in frustration. This changed everything. A direct confrontation with the human fleet could prove disastrous, especially if their ships were as advanced as they appeared. She needed a new strategy, one that would put these upstart humans in their place without risking the might of the Vexori armada. "Prepare a communique to our agents throughout human space," she ordered. "It's time to see how these humans fare when the enemy is within their own ranks." As Zorak plotted her next move, humanity basked in its moment of triumph. But Admiral Chen and the other leaders of Earth knew that this was just the opening move in a dangerous game. They had surprised the galaxy once. They could not count on doing so again. In hidden labs and classified facilities across human space, scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of their new ships, pushing the boundaries of physics and technology even further. For they knew that the Vexori would not take this humiliation lightly, and humanity would need every advantage it could get in the battles to come. The unveiling of the Supercarrier fleet had changed the game. Now, all that remained to be seen was who would make the next move, and what the consequences would be for the galaxy as a whole. The tension in the galaxy had reached a fever pitch. Weeks had passed since humanity's dramatic unveiling of its supercarrier fleet, and an uneasy quiet had settled over known space. But it was a quiet that hummed with potential energy, like the calm before a storm. On Alpha Centauri b, humanity's first extrasolar colony, and now a thriving world of millions, life continued with a veneer of normalcy. But beneath the surface, there was an undercurrent of anxiety. Citizens went about their daily lives while casting nervous glances at the sky, wondering when the other shoe would drop. In the Planetary Defense Headquarters, Governor Isakuri studied the latest intelligence reports with a furrowed brow. Another communication blackout in the outer reaches, she muttered to her aide. That's the third one this week. Before her aide could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Aisha's head snapped up, her eyes widening as she took in the holographic display materializing before her. A mass of red dots was appearing at the edge of the system, far too many to be a routine patrol or trade fleet. Mother of Earth, she breathed. It's happening. Sound the evacuation alarm, and get me a direct line to Earth. We're going to need the fleet. As Alpha Centauri scrambled to prepare its defenses, on the bridge of the Vexari dreadnought Eternal Fang, Empress Zarok herself stood imperiously, watching as her armada dropped out of FTL. Her eyes gleamed with anticipation. The humans think their new toys make them invincible, she hissed to her assembled commanders. We will show them the folly of challenging the Vexari Empire. Take the colony, but remember, we need prisoners. It's time we learned the secrets behind their sudden leap in technology. As the Vexari fleet began its advance into the system, humanity's response was already underway. On Earth, in the Strategic Command bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, President Winters and her War Council watched the situation unfold with grim determination. Alpha Centauri is too important to lose, General Santos insisted. We have to commit the fleet. Admiral Chen nodded in agreement. The Prometheus and her battle brood are already en route, but will be outnumbered at least 3-1. President Winters closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of her decision. When she opened them, there was steel in her gaze. We can't let Alpha Centauri fall, not just for strategic reasons, but for what it represents. It's our first colony, a symbol of how far we've come. Commit the fleet, Admiral. Show the galaxy what humanity can do when our backs are against the wall. As the orders went out, the greatest space battle in human history began to unfold. The skies above Alpha Centauri Beta lit up with weapons fire as the planet's defensive platforms engaged the approaching Vexari ships, but it was like trying to hold back a tidal wave with a picket fence. Vexari drop pods punched through the weakening planetary defenses, disgorging troops onto the surface. In the capital city of New Eden, the sound of energy weapons and explosions filled the air as human defenders clashed with Vexari shock troops. Lieutenant Zara Chen, no relation to the Admiral, but every bit as determined, led her platoon through the chaos of urban combat. Keep moving, she shouted over the din of battle. We need to get these civilians to the evacuation points. As her soldiers herded a group of terrified colonists towards a waiting shuttle, a Vexari battle tank rounded the corner, its main gun swiveling towards them. Zora's heart hammered in her chest, but her voice was steady as she called out, "Javelin team, take it down." Two of her soldiers hefted sleek, high-tech missile launchers onto their shoulders. The weapons, products of humanity's recent technological leap, locked onto the Vexari tank and fired. The missiles corkscrewed through the air, effortlessly evading the tank's point defense systems before slamming into its hull. The Vexari war machine erupted in a ball of plasma fire. Good work, Zara allowed herself a grim smile. Now keep moving, we're not out of this yet. High above the embattled planet, space itself seemed to tear open as humanity's supercarrier fleet arrived. The Prometheus led the charge, its massive form dwarfing even the largest Vexari cruisers. On its bridge, Admiral Chen took in the tactical situation with a seasoned eye. The Vexari had numbers on their side, but the human ships were more advanced, more agile. It would be a close fight. All ships engage at will, she ordered, her voice calm despite the stakes. Prioritize protecting the evacuation corridors. Let's show these Vexari what humanity can really do. The battle that followed would be remembered for generations. Human supercarriers unleashed swarms of fighter drones, overwhelming Vexari point defenses. Advanced ECN suites allowed smaller human vessels to dance between the lumbering Vexari ships, striking with pinpoint accuracy at weak spots in their armor. But the Vexari gave as good as they got. Their ships, while not as advanced, were piloted by crews with centuries of combat experience. Lethal beams of energy sliced through space, vaporizing human fighters and leaving even the mighty supercarriers with glowing scars along their hulls. In the midst of the chaos, the Prometheus found itself face to face with the Eternal Fang. The two flagships squared off, unleashing devastating barrages at each other. On the bridge of the Eternal Fang, Empress Zorok snarled in frustration. How are they matching us? Their technology should be centuries behind ours. Her tactical officer, face grave, replied, "Your Majesty, we're detecting energy signatures we've never seen before. Some of their weapons, they don't match anything in our databases." Zorok's eyes narrowed. The humans weren't just using reverse-engineered tech. They created something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. For the first time, a flicker of doubt crept into her mind. The battle raged for hours, the skies above Alpha Centauri lit by the funeral pyres of ships from both sides. But slowly, inexorably, humanity's technological edge began to tell. Vexari ships fell one by one, overwhelmed by weapons they couldn't understand and defenses they couldn't penetrate. Finally, as the Prometheus landed a crippling blow to the Eternal Fang's main reactor, Zorok was forced to face the unthinkable. "All ships," she hissed, her voice tight with suppressed rage, "retreat. Fall back to Rally Point Omega." As the Vexari fleet limped away, a ragged cheer went up across the human ships. They had done it. Against overwhelming odds, they had defended Alpha Centauri. But the victory had come at a terrible cost. The colony below was in ruins, thousands were dead or missing, and the human fleet had suffered severe damage. And everyone knew this was only the beginning. As the Prometheus moved to assist with rescue operations, Admiral Chen allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. They had won the battle, yes. But the war? The war had only just begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The aftermath of the Battle of Alpha Centauri sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The Vexari Empire, long considered the dominant power in known space, had been dealt a humiliating defeat by the upstart humans. As news of the battle spread, other races began to reassess their relationships with both humanity and the Vexari. On Sharix, the Vexari throne world, Empress Zorok paced in her private chambers, her claws leaving deep gouges in the metallic floor. The defeat at Alpha Centauri had been a personal humiliation, but more than that, it threatened the very foundations of Vexari power. "Your Majesty," General Kraz said cautiously, "our analysts have completed their preliminary report on the human technology used in the battle." Zorok whirled to face him, her eyes blazing. "And how did those primates manage to best us?" Kraz swallowed hard before continuing. "It appears, Your Majesty, that the humans didn't just reverse-engineer existing technology. They innovated, created entirely new systems by combining principles from multiple races' tech. Some of what they used, we've never seen before." The Empress hissed in frustration. This changed everything. The Vexari had always relied on their technological superiority to maintain their dominance. If the humans could innovate at this level, the balance of power in the galaxy could shift dramatically. "We need to strike back," Zorok snarled. "Show the galaxy that this was a fluke, but the Vexari Empire is still supreme." "With respect, Your Majesty," Kraz ventured, "a direct confrontation might not be wise. Our fleets are still recovering, and the humans have proven more formidable than we anticipated." Zorok's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Then what do you suggest, General? That we cower in fear of these upstart apes?" Kraz straightened, steeling himself. "No, Your Majesty. I suggest we fight smarter, not harder. Our intelligence networks are still intact. Perhaps it's time we use them to their full potential." A slow, cruel smile spread across Zorok's face. Yes, I see. If we can't beat them in open combat, we'll destroy them from within. Prepare our best agents. It's time to show these humans the true might of the Vexari Empire. Meanwhile, on Earth, the mood was one of cautious celebration tinged with grim determination. In the White House Situation Room, President Winters met with her top advisors to plan their next moves. The victory at Alpha Centauri was crucial, Admiral Chen reported, but it came at a heavy cost. We've lost nearly a third of our supercarrier fleet, and it'll take months to repair the damage to the others. Defense Minister Tanaka nodded gravely. We've begun accelerating production at our secret shipyards, but replacing our losses will take time. Time I'm not sure we have. President Winters leaned forward, her face set with determination. Then we need to buy ourselves that time. Admiral, what's the status of Operation Longbow? Chen's expression tightened. The team is ready, Madam President, but I must emphasize, this is an extremely high-risk operation. If they're caught. I understand the risks, Winters cut in. But we need to take the fight to the Vexari, show them and the rest of the galaxy that we won't just sit back and wait for the next attack. Give Longbow the green light. As preparations for humanity's daring counterstrike began, neither side realized that they were both about to fall into a trap of their own making. Aboard the stealth ship Shadow Dancer, Captain Maya Rodriguez briefed her team of elite operatives. Operation Longbow was the most audacious mission in human military history, a covert insertion onto the Vexari throne world itself. Our objective is simple, Maya explained, her voice steady despite the enormity of their task. We infiltrate the Imperial Palace, gather critical intelligence on Vexari military capabilities and plans, and get out undetected. If we succeed, we could end this war before it truly begins. As the Shadow Dancer slipped undetected through Vexari space, on Sharix, Empress Zorok's own plans were coming to fruition. Her top spymaster, Slith, had identified key targets throughout human space, prominent politicians, military leaders, and scientific minds who could be turned, willingly or not, to serve Vexari interests. But neither the humans nor the Vexari realized that they were both being manipulated by a third party. Deep in uncharted space, an ancient intelligence stirred. The Precursors, a race so old they were thought to be mere legend, watched the unfolding conflict with growing interest. For eons, they had waited for a species worthy of inheriting their legacy. Now, as humanity and the Vexari clashed, the Precursors saw an opportunity to test these younger races, to see if either was truly ready for the power they could offer. As Captain Rodriguez and her team infiltrated the labyrinthine corridors of the Vexari Imperial Palace, they found themselves facing security measures far beyond what their intelligence had suggested. Unbeknownst to them, they were walking into a carefully laid trap. In the heart of the palace, Empress Zorok waited, a triumphant smile playing across her reptilian features. "Come, little humans," she purred. "Show me what you're truly capable of." But even as the trap was sprung, alarms blared across the palace. A massive energy signature had appeared in orbit, dwarfing even the largest Vexari dreadnoughts. As both humans and Vexari looked to the skies in shock, a booming voice resonated in the minds of all present. "Children of the younger races, your conflict has awakened us from our long slumber. The time has come for you to be judged, to determine if you are worthy of the legacy we left behind." In that moment, both humanity and the Vexari Empire realized that their war had attracted the attention of something far beyond their understanding. The arrival of the Precursors would change everything, forcing bitter enemies to reevaluate not just their conflict, but their place in the cosmos. As the massive Precursor ship loomed over Sharix, Captain Rodriguez and Empress, Zorok found themselves facing a choice that would determine not just the outcome of their war, but potentially the fate of all life in the galaxy. Could they set aside their enmity and work together in the face of this new development, or would their conflict doom them both in the eyes of these ancient, godlike beings? The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the galaxy forever. The final battle was about to begin, but it would be fought on terms that neither humanity nor the Vexari could have possibly imagined. The massive precursor ship hung in orbit above Sherix, its impossible geometry defying the laws of physics as understood by both humans and Vexari. In the Imperial Palace below, Captain Maya Rodriguez and her team found themselves in an uneasy standoff with Empress Zorak and her guards, all eyes turned skyward. "What manner of trickery is this?" Zorak hissed, her scales bristling with a mixture of fear and rage. Maya shook her head, her voice barely above a whisper. "This is no trick, Your Majesty. Whatever that ship is, it's beyond anything humanity has ever encountered." As if in response to their exchange, the booming voice resonated in their minds once more. "Empress Zorak of the Vexari, Captain Maya Rodriguez of Earth, you will come aboard our vessel. It is time for your species to be judged." Before either could respond, they found themselves enveloped in a field of shimmering energy. In the blink of an eye, Maya, Zorak, and a handful of their respective entourages were transported to a vast chamber within the precursor ship. The interior was a marvel of organic technology, with pulsing lights and flowing structures that seemed alive. At the center of the chamber stood three beings of pure energy, their forms constantly shifting and flowing. "We are the precursors," the beings spoke in unison, their thoughts reverberating through the minds of all present. "Long ago, we seeded this galaxy with the potential for life and intelligence. We have watched and waited, hoping for species worthy of continuing our legacy." Maya stepped forward, her soldier's training allowing her to master her awe. "Why reveal yourselves now? Why intervene in our conflict?" One of the precursors shifted, its form coalescing into a vaguely humanoid shape. "Your war has reached a critical juncture. The weapons you wield, the technologies you've developed, they have the potential to destroy not just yourselves, but the very fabric of space-time in this sector of the galaxy." Zorak snarled, her pride overcoming her fear. "The Vexari Empire has ruled this galaxy for millennia. We will not be lectured by some long-lost race, no matter how advanced." The precursor beings pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Your empire is but an eye blink in the cosmic scale, young one. But it is not your longevity that interests us. It is your potential." With a gesture, the chamber transformed. The humans and Vexari found themselves surrounded by holographic displays showing the history of both races, their triumphs, their failures, their moments of incredible ingenuity and devastating folly. "Both of your species have shown remarkable qualities," the precursors continued. "Humanity's adaptability and innovative spirit, the Vexari's resilience and determination. Together, you could achieve greatness beyond imagining. Apart, you risk mutual destruction." Maya and Zorak exchanged glances, centuries of mistrust and recent conflict making the idea of cooperation seem impossible. And yet, faced with beings of such power and wisdom, they both began to see their conflict in a new light. "What would you have us do?" Maya asked, her voice steady despite the enormity of the situation. The precursor's forms shimmered. "We offer you a choice. Continue your war, and we will be forced to intervene to protect the galaxy, an intervention that may result in the extinction of both your species, or forge a new path together. Combine your strengths, overcome your differences, and take the first steps towards becoming a truly galactic civilization." Zorak's tail lashed in agitation. "And if we refuse? If we choose to settle our differences ourselves, then you will face the consequences of that choice," the precursors replied, their tone carrying a note of finality. "But know this, the challenges that lie ahead of you are far greater than your petty squabbles. There are threats in this universe that would annihilate you both without a second thought. Only united do you stand a chance of survival." As if to emphasize their point, the chamber filled with visions of cosmic horrors, extra-dimensional invaders, galaxy-consuming hive minds, and dangers beyond comprehension. Maya felt her breath catch in her throat, while even the proud Empress Zorak took an involuntary step back. "You have one planetary rotation to make your decision," the precursors announced. Choose wisely, for the fate of not just your own species, but countless others, hangs in the balance. With that, Maya and Zarok found themselves back in the Imperial Palace on Sharex, surrounded by their bewildered companions. For a long moment, neither spoke, both trying to process the enormity of what they had just experienced. Finally, Maya broke the silence. "Your Majesty," she said, her voice carefully neutral, "I believe we have much to discuss." Zarok nodded slowly, her usual haughtiness tempered by the weight of their shared experience. "Indeed we do, Captain, indeed we do." As word of the precursor's ultimatum spread, the galaxy held its breath. On Earth, President Winters convened an emergency session of the United Earth Government. On Sharex, the Vexori High Council debated furiously. And across known space, other races watched and waited, knowing that the outcome of this decision would shape the future of galactic civilization. In a secure conference room deep within the Imperial Palace, Maya and Zarok sat across from each other, flanked by their advisors. The tension in the room was palpable, centuries of conflict and recent battles making trust seem like an impossible goal. "Your weapons," Zarok began, her voice tight with suppressed emotion. "The ones you used at Alpha Centauri. How did you develop them so quickly?" Maya hesitated, then decided that honesty was the best policy. "We combined technologies from multiple races, including some Vexori designs we acquired. But the key was thinking outside conventional parameters. We asked questions no one else had thought to ask." Zarok's eyes narrowed, but there was a glimmer of something like respect in her gaze. "Impressive and dangerous. With such innovation, you could become a true threat to Vexori dominance." Or, Maya countered, "We could become powerful allies. Your Majesty, you saw what the precursors showed us. The threats out there, we'll need each other if we hope to survive." For hours, they talked. Of past grievances and future possibilities. Of the strengths each species could bring to an alliance, and the challenges they would face in overcoming their differences. It was not an easy conversation, but as the Sharex sun began to set, a fragile understanding began to form. As the deadline approached, Maya and Zarok stood side by side before a joint broadcast to their respective peoples. The sight of the human captain and the Vexori Empress together sent shockwaves through the galaxy. "People of Earth, citizens of the Vexori Empire," Zarok began, her voice strong and clear. "We stand at a crossroads. The path behind us is stained with blood and conflict, but the path ahead offers a chance for something greater than either of us could achieve alone." Maya stepped forward. "We have seen wonders and terrors beyond imagination. We have been offered a choice, to remain divided and face extinction, or to unite and reach for the stars together. It will not be easy. Centuries of mistrust cannot be erased overnight, but the potential rewards are beyond measure." As one, human and Vexori, they spoke the words that would change the course of galactic history. "We choose alliance. We choose progress. We choose life." In orbit above Sharex, the precursor ship pulsed with approval. Their gambit had paid off. These young races had shown the wisdom and courage necessary to take the next step in their evolution. As the precursor ship prepared to depart, it left behind a gift, the coordinates to a long-lost repository of their most advanced technology. A prize that humans and Vexori would have to work together to unlock, and a responsibility they would have to shoulder together. The road ahead would not be easy. There would be setbacks, disagreements, and moments when the fragile peace threatened to shatter. But as the first joint human Vexori expedition set out to explore the precursor repository, there was a sense of hope and excitement that hadn't been felt in the galaxy for millennia. The age of conflict was over. The age of exploration and cooperation had begun, and somewhere out in the vast, unknown reaches of space, new challenges and wonders awaited the united forces of humanity and the Vexori Empire. As the expedition ship disappeared into the swirling vortex of FTL travel, Admiral Elena Chen and Empress Zarok watched from their respective command centers. Both leaders knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty. But for the first time, they faced that future not as enemies, but as allies. The galaxy would never be the same again, and that perhaps was the greatest victory of all.